Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jonathan here. We all know that having a budget is very important. A budget allows you to control your spending and manage your money more efficiently. A budget acts as the basis of all things personal finance and is one of the most important tools to use to build your net worth and achieve financial freedom. The problem is most people will create a budget and not use it in a way that allows them to get the most value out of it. So in this video, I'll discuss the 3 things you must do to get the maximum value from the budget that you've created. This way you can reach your financial goals as fast as possible. Without any further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing you must do to make your budget effective is to review and adjust your budget regularly. So you should review your budget every about 2 to 3 months. And when you review your budget, you want to look for 2 things. So the first thing you want to look for is there certain categories in your budget that are either underspent or overspent every month? So for those categories, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, is this going to be a normal pattern of spending for the long run? Will I consistently over or underspend on this section of my budget? If that's the case, you may want to do some readjusting to your budget, maybe make the categories that you're underspending on smaller and the categories that you're overspending on bigger. But you seriously have to ask yourself the question is, are you overspending on that budget because it's a new norm? Or are you doing it because you are not spending money wisely? This is something that's very important when it comes to discipline, and you have to ask yourself this question. It's not something that you can kind of just glaze over. You really have to ask yourself deeply, do you really need to spend money on this? So the second thing you want to look for when you review your budget is there certain parts of your budget that you could cut or that you could cut down the amount of money you have allocated for, or even eliminate it altogether. Every now and then when I look at my budget, I can find certain parts of my budget that I can actually get rid of or even reduce significantly, because I realize that certain expense is either not necessary or is just not a part of my life anymore. So most of the time, these things look like subscription services. Sometimes you might have free subscription services for the same thing when you only use one of them. So it might make more sense for you to cut the other 2 that you use the least and just keep that one that you have. And just these little things, usually you can find them all over your budget and they add up to become a lot of money over time. Money that can be used to either save or invest. And a good way to think about it is that a budget can be rigid and flexible at the same time. Now that may not seem like it makes any sense, but you should be able to adjust your budget over time as your life changes, because certain life circumstances will cause you to spend less or more on certain parts of your budget. But at the same time, you should also be spending within the limits of your budget. So if you set a $200 restaurant budget, and you should try everything in your best interest to follow that $200 a month budget. You shouldn't just adjust it because you say, oh, well, I could just adjust my budget whenever. No, you still want to strictly adhere to the guidelines of your budget. So you got to think about your budget as kind of just a way to track where your money is going. That's the most important thing about a budget. It's not necessarily, a lot of times people think of a budget as if it's like a rule book. Really what it is that it's just a way for you to track where your money is going. Because as soon as you track where your money is going, it's very easy for you to manage your money more effectively. The second important thing that you must do with your budget is that you must compare your budget to your spending. I know this one's a little bit obvious, but it is something that a lot of people end up overlooking. So about every once a week or so, you want to look at your budget and you want to look at your expenses, and you want to compare and you want to make sure that your expenses are within the limits of your budget. So there's 2 things you want to look for. The first thing you want to look for is to make sure that you don't overspend on any categories in your budget. The second thing you want to look for is to make sure that you're not on track to overspend on a certain part of your budget. So for example, let's say you have a grocery budget of $400 and you buy groceries once a week. Then technically that gives you $100 a week. If let's say you're on week 3 of let's say you're on week 3 of the month and you've bought groceries twice already the month and you've already spent $350. You want to be mindful that you can only spend $50 for the next 2 weeks on groceries. So you want to forecast future expenses as well as the expenses you've already incurred in the month. So you have a total idea of how much money you have to spend for the rest of the month. This step is pretty much the basis of budgeting in the first place. The whole idea of having a budget is for you to be able to use it as a guideline on how you'll allocate your money and how you'll spend your money. And if you don't follow your budget, it's basically useless. If you have your budget written down on a sheet of paper and you're not following it, you might as well not even have it all together. The third most important thing that you do with your budget is that you forecast future expenses. So if you have a big one-time expense coming up, you may want to count it in some way in your budget. Let's say you're in the month of February and you know in March you have a big purchase coming up and you're looking for places to fund the budget. Maybe you might have to take some of the more optional parts of your budget and earmark it to using it to cover that expense. You have one big expense at a certain part of the year and you know what that expense is going to be. It's good practice to get that expense and divide it by 12 and put it into your monthly budget account it for your monthly budget every month. So in that way, when it's time to pay that bill, you have the money allocated and it's ready to go. You're not looking around trying to scramble, looking for all this money so you can cover this one expense. When properly used, a budget can be a very effective tool to help you increase your net worth and guide your financial life. By doing the 3 things I outlined in this video, you'll be able to get maximum value from making a budget and following it. This will allow you to reach your financial goals as soon as possible and keep you out of debt. If you enjoyed the information shared in this video, please hit the like button. It greatly helps out the channel for the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you like the way that I explain things, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I respond to every comment that is posted. Also, while you're down there, check out the link for Webull where you can get free stocks after you deposit $100, with one of those stocks being worth up to $1,600. Also, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I try to post there every day. And thank you for watching. Until next time.